Last but not least, Keanu talked about what will happen next. You're not retiring here. And Hollywood still doesn't know how to deal with it. Bayreuth is where Keanu Reeves was born on September 2nd, 1964. Samuel was his father and was Chinese from Hawaii. Patricia was his mother and was British. Samantha was 21 years old and Patricia was 19 when they met in Beirut. Patricia was making costumes for work. Samuel was going from job to job and living a crazy life. Born in Hawaii, Keanu's name means cool breeze over the mountains. But things were not calm for him in his early years. This happened only 3 weeks after Keanu was born. A year later, Samuel was no longer in their lives at all. Keanu was 3 years old when Patricia went to New York and raised him by herself. It was the start of their never-ending move. When Keanu's dad went missing, he was already hooked on drugs, but Keanu kept going to Hawaii to see him until he turned 13. When they finally met again in 1977, it was strange. As night fell, they sat still under the stars. Later, Samuel took him to the airport the next day. That was all there was. His last sighting of him was. Another time, Keanu was asked where his dad was, and he said it felt like the earth had swallowed him up. Keanu didn't even know that Samuel was in jail. The emotional harm was done for good. Patricia tried to secure her life, but her love life made things unstable. In 1970, she got married to Broadway director Paul Aaron. That was short-lived. Thereafter, in 1976, she got married to rock manager Robert Miller. Their daughter's name was Karina. After a while, her fourth husband, salon owner Jack Bond, came along. In 1994, that stopped. During that time, her job in show business caused many strange events in Keanu's life. In Toronto, they lived close to Nimbus 9 Studio. People who were in rock bands used to go there. He was watched by Alice Cooper one time. He met Sarah McLachlan. He got to know Dolly Parton too. In spite of that, none of that made him feel stable. There were 4 different high schools Keanu went to before he turned 17. 1, Etobicoke School of the Arts, kicked him out for being too much of a bother. He became a hockey goalie at De La Salle College and was called The Wall. Yet, his dyslexia made school hard for him. It was tough to read. He said he sometimes felt like he didn't belong. At his last school, Avondale, he quit for good. He didn't finish high school. He quit and started acting instead. While Keanu was becoming popular in 1992, his father was caught trying to sell heroin in Hawaii. Additionally, he had a lot of drugs. Though he was sentenced to 10 years, he only spent 2. Due to Keanu's fame, the guards were nice to him. Although he was in jail, he got his GED. In the past, someone told him that Keanu had died in an accident, which made him cry. He never did reach out, though. Keanu cut off all contact with him. Samuel did not come back after 2018. Not close at all. Keanu was barely getting by in school when he was 15. As a result of his dyslexia, he often claimed to understand what was being said in class. His behavior was punished by being kicked out for being loud and acting without thinking. He was behind at Avondale. Was a bad student because I had trouble reading, he said. He began acting to stay alive. These days, pretending wasn't just for stage. It became a way of doing things. When he was a teen, hockey was his way to relax. He was great at keeping goals. It occurred to him that he might play professionally and even get to the Olympics. But then he was in a terrible accident and broke his ankle. His words showed that he could see the bone clearly. The dream was over. After trying everything else, he decided to become an actor. Kenny got his first TV part in 1984 on the Canadian show Hangin' In. It was a troubled kid he played. Strangely, he was a troubled kid in real life. Moving, having stepdads, and all the chaos were making him anxious and lonely. Playing hockey with his friends helped him relax. He got a part in a strange play in Toronto that same year called Wolf Boy. It was heated and caused a lot of debate. The way he performed was honest, physical, and will never be forgotten. Some scenes became tales in the area. This is when people began to notice him. Because he wanted to be an actor, he drove his car to Hollywood in 1985. Agents told him that his name was too strange. They wanted him to change it to something more American, like Chuck or Casey. His real name was Keanu Reeves for a while. But in the end, he refused. He said protecting his identity was wrong. That choice changed his path. River's Edge, a movie he made in 1986, was his big break. The person he played had to deal with a friend's death. An actual crime inspired the story. The way Keanu acted was real to him. It made him feel all the pain and distance he was carrying inside. The role of him was offered in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in 1989. During his first tryout, he was chosen to play Bill, but the director changed his name to Ted. Because they got along well with their co-star Alex Winter, they made up a lot of the scenes as they went along. Beginnings of the story were written on napkins. Nobody thought it would become a cult favorite. That was followed by Point Break in 1991. Keanu worked out for months to get better at surfing. Multiple times, he almost drowned. That's not all. He trained with FBI agents and even quarterback teachers. He gave that part everything he had. From then on, he would always surf. He worked with Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze on the 1986 sports movie Youngblood. It was his second time playing goalie. It was all his own doing. It was 90 miles per hour for pucks. The actor didn't use a double. What a serious guy he was. Whatever it took for the story, he would do. When they were making Speed in 1994, Keanu Reeves didn't want a stunt double to do his work. About 90% of the scary scenes he did himself in the end. One that stands out was when the bus had to jump over a crack in the highway. While doing one of those stunts, something went wrong. The bus broke down, and he was thrown about 20 feet into the air. He got hit hard on the ground and broke 2 ribs. He also got a shock. Rather than stopping shooting, he didn't tell the director. His journey never ended. They made things worse by filming on a real highway close to San Diego. The actors weren't told that real cars would be used that day. All of a sudden, the bus started hitting real cars. People on board screamed out of fear, Keanu said, because no one saw it coming. Nevertheless, he kept going. And Speed made $350 million around the world in theaters, even though it only cost $30 million to make. It made him a real action star. Behind the scenes, though, so close to breaking him. Then a shocking thing took place. Warner Brothers made Keanu a $75 million deal after Speed became a big hit. Back-end earnings and the right to sell the product were part of it. He answered, no, without even blinking. Besides not wanting to be managed, it wasn't about the money. He thought it was more important to be true to the work than the pay. He even turned down $11 million for Speed 2 later that same year. In The Devil's Advocate, he got to show a different side of himself, so he accepted the part. His own agent told him it would be bad for his job, but Keanu did what he thought was right, not what looked good on paper. Actually, Al Pacino was willing to take a big pay cut to work on The Devil's Advocate. It was all he wanted for the story to work. He tried acting like Shakespeare before in the 1993 movie Much Ado About Nothing, but it didn't work out. His performance was criticized for being stiff. His delivery was off, and he had trouble with the lines. However, the naysayers were missing something. Keanu had a learning disorder. He did, too, as did his co-star Emma Thompson. They helped each other read and understand the hard words until late at night after long shoots. Her help was needed to learn those lines. Both of them knew how hard it was, which made their relationship stronger. That movie may have made him look bad in public, but it taught him how to keep going even when he thought he was falling behind. This happened in 1995 with Johnny Mnemonic, and everything that could go wrong did. The movie had a $26 million budget at first, but after Speed did well, Sony tried to make it a big hit. Everything, from the actors to the action scenes, Keanu and the director had disagreements. On 2 occasions, he even left the set. The movie was meant to be small and smart based on William Gibson's cyberpunk story, but it turned into something else. The director later called it all corrupt. The final product didn't match anyone's idea, and they spent a lot more money than they had planned. Around the world, it lost almost $100 million. After the fact, Keanu admitted that his big plans to use new technology in the movie weren't ready for the real world. A new level was seen in The Devil's Advocate, which came out in 1997, in the way Keanu acts. However, many people did not know that he was pulling because he was in real pain. It was when Keanu was 3 years old that his father left him. They hadn't seen each other since he was 13 and on vacation in Hawaii. After a night of stargazing, his dad was gone by morning. Police and hospital records are missing. Keanu felt that pain for many years. He brought that pain into every scene with Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate, who was a terrible father figure. Keanu's acting teachers saw how strongly he felt those things, but he didn't talk much about them. His response made it sound like he didn't want to hear the comments. Then there was The Matrix. In 1998, weeks before shooting started, Keanu needed emergency surgery on his back. It was damaged from years of motorbike accidents and sports injuries. He couldn't even walk right, but he didn't say anything. trained even more, hid a neck brace under his clothes while he learned how to fight. In the movie, some of his stiffness wasn't fake. It was hurting. So he could heal. The crew had to change the shooting plan, but he never told the studio how bad it was. They might have replaced him. He was afraid. After The Matrix came out in 1999, movies would never be the same. People talked a lot about the bullet time effect. It took $63 million to make the movie, and Keanu got $10 million up front. But after that, what did he do? Everyone was shocked. He gave away a lot of his money. He gave the stunt team and special effects crew some bonuses worth about $1 million each out of his own money. People in the studio thought it was crazy, but he didn't care. People who worked behind the scenes should be treated the same as the stars, he said. Kuroshira found out that Warner Brothers had messed with the numbers after the series made $1.8 billion. They didn't report enough earnings, so they wouldn't have to pay him what he was owed. 2001, he put in a claim. He said that the company played shady accounting games to keep about $100 million in residuals from him. In private, they came to an agreement outside of court, and Keanu added terms to protect his future deals. It did, however, make him less close to the business side of Hollywood. Over money, he didn't want to fight, but do something. During the 2002 filming of The Matrix Reloaded, Keanu pushed his body once more. The best part was a 14-minute chase scene on the highway. It was necessary to build a whole road just for the pictures. He drove himself in most of the stunts, and in Pantin Tercer, he would sometimes go over 85 miles per hour. In one scene, the car flipped 180 feet. Even though he got away from it, he was hurt. It was bad to get whiplash. He went to rehab and had neck pain for many years. It crossed his mind for a moment to use action doubles in Matrix Revolutions, but he decided not to. Kim, his sister, was fighting for her life while all of this was going on. Her cancer was leukemia. She found out in 1991, and Keanu was there for her for 10 long years. He got rid of his home to be near her. $5 million were spent on his care. After making a lot of money with The Matrix, he gave more than $31 million to cancer research. Not a single one of them had his name on it. So much so that he set up a private fund that kept giving. Not a soul knew about it. Until a 2007 conversation that was very quiet. Never told anyone about it. Some things happened to Keanu Reeves that would have made most artists quit. In 2005, he wanted to look like a real, worn-out exorcist for the movie Constantine. I had to wear a lot of makeup every day, but the chemicals in it made his skin hurt. The situation got so bad. Welts and boils were all over his face and neck. He was told to stop by doctors. He did not hear. For the fire shots, he wouldn't even use a body double. Despite the pain and damage from the flames, he kept going. He kept smoking real cigarettes on set to stay in character, even though it made the wounds take longer to heal. Some scenes had to be paused so he could get better, which added an extra $2 million to the cost of making the movie, besides the $100 million it cost to make. But the worst thing that happened to him wasn't on a movie set. The world was about to see The Matrix on December 24, 1999, but Keanu's real life fell apart. He and Jennifer Syme were going to have a baby soon. They already decided on Ava. Ava, however, died on Christmas Eve when she was 8 months old. No one had told them. Jennifer had no health problems at all. The nursery was ready for the baby. They were broken up by the news. Jennifer totally broke down. Immediate help was needed. Keanu wasn't seen by anyone for almost a year. Despite offers of $20 million, he turned down several movie roles. It was too painful for the relationship to last. These two people loved each other, but their sadness took over. Within weeks, they stopped talking to each other. There was a moment when he was no longer able to heal. After 6 in the morning on April 2, 2001, Jennifer died in a car accident. On Los Angeles' Cahuenga Boulevard, her Jeep crashed into parked cars. This is the same road where Keanu had shot fast scenes for Speed. She wasn't secured in her seat. Officers discovered 2 folded bills containing white powder, along with back pain pills from a previous incident. The day before, on April 1st, she and Keanu were in San Francisco together. Their meal was lunch. They had a conversation. They got back in touch. They were done for good that day. Keanu already knew the answer when he called the coroner's office to ask if Jennifer Syme was there. Nevertheless, he asked. That day was the day he emotionally disappeared. His acting career began in 2006 with the strange cartoon movie A Scanner Darkly, in which everything seems like a dream. In the role, he played a man who lost his mind and personality to drugs. His actions were the problem, not the playing. This is how much pain he put into it. His lines were even not in the script. What he said about losing everything didn't sound like made-up stories. Afterward, the director said those scenes were so honest that they changed the whole movie. The movie was about people who had been through too much, and Keanu thought Jennifer fit that bill. His mood was reflected in the cartoon style, being stuck between two places and not really being in either of them. Later, in 2008, The Day the Earth Stood Still came out. It was a disaster. Go Bad Tomatoes, 216%. It cost $245 million to market, and even though it made $233 million, it was still a loss. The people who didn't like Keanu thought he looked empty in the part, but he really did feel that way. His absence from the movie's promotion was shocking. He portrayed an alien that didn't understand people because that's how he felt. He no longer felt like he belonged. In 2014, something altered. He said yes to doing John Wick. He worked out more than ever at age 50. He worked out every day for 3 months and learned jiu-jitsu, gunfighting, and a martial art he made up called bullet kata. He punched a stuntman and broke his left hand on set, but he didn't stop. The team had to glue his hand back together in between takes. Not going to the hospital, so no break. His journey never ended. It only took about $30 million to make, but it made $86 million around the world. That kept his acting career going. And even though he helped write the script and direct the action scenes, he gave the writer credit. Making decisions didn't bother him. It was all he wanted for the story to work. That was followed by John Wick, Chapter 2. Everyone remembers how hard it was to shoot that pencil scene. It was only shown for 45 seconds, but it was shot for 14 hours over 2 days. While doing the moves, Keanu hurt his shoulder. He had an operation. After 3 days, went back to work. They were more than just props. They had metal centers that made real noise when they hit something. Everything was taken away from him in that one short scene. By 2019, for Parabellum, the 3rd episode, 6 months of training every day. For health reasons, he lost 20 pounds. He did practice riding his motorcycle on the Brooklyn Bridge, but he fell. His kneecap broke. His surgery had to happen right away. His insistence on doing real stunts later didn't change, like breaking down gravestones in a graveyard. To help him move again, they made him a $15,000 knee brace. He did everything for real, even when some scenes had to be CGI. It was Chapter 4 in 2023 after that. He played the most dangerous role of his life when he was 58 years old. Along Berlin's Brandenburg Gate, he rode a horse. The horse freaked out and ran away during the shoot. It was just inches away from keeping Keanu safe. Footprints in the concrete were visible where he was standing. His head was hurt and his ribs were hurt. Nevertheless, he rode again the next day. There was no one who told him to. He finished it. There were 47 movies of that drive over the course of 3 weeks. It took training with Olympic riders for him to get it right. In 1991, while shooting My Own Private Idaho, Keanu Reeves met River Phoenix. Their relationship changed. There was more to it than playing. As expected, they played those parts. Actually, they hung out with real street workers and tried drugs to feel what the characters were feeling. Keanu once rode his motorbike from Toronto, Canada, all the way to River's family ranch in Florida, 1,300 miles away, just to ask him to be in the movie. Exactly that. He was that kind of friend. Unfortunately, it didn't last. River Phoenix came into the Viper Room on October 30th, 1993, with his girlfriend Samantha Mathis, his brother Joaquin, and his sister Ring. It was a drink that had both cocaine and heroin in it. A musician named John Frusciante gave it to him. River later passed out on the steps outside the club a few minutes later. Right there on the ground, he started shaking. His departure happened at 1:51 a.m., just after midnight on Halloween. He was too sick to be saved at Cedars Sinai Medical Center. There was only 23 of him. Keanu was damaged beyond words. After that, he never used hard drugs again. He changed a great deal. After a while, Keanu found love again, but he didn't tell anyone. After hiding their romance for months, he and artist Alexandra Grant finally showed up at a red carpet event in 2019 holding hands. He was 55 years old. There were 51 of her. They first met when they worked on a small book together in 2011. They both wrote and drew in that book, Ode to Happiness. The two of them became closer slowly over the years. Others in the group noticed that her art had become happier. By the beginning of 2019, they were dating, but they didn't tell anyone. By February 2025, Keanu said she loves riding motorbikes with him. It was his first real relationship in public. After losing everything, Keanu knew how to keep things secret. He had a very bad back problem in 1999. A torn disc and narrowing in his spine were making it harder for him to feel in his legs. Nobody saw it because he hid it. For The Matrix, he even wore a neck brace while he learned kung fu. It was never told to the directors. He was worried about losing the part. In his neck, doctors put a metal plate. He was told to move right away after surgery, though. Even though he was about to lose his ability to move, he kept training and pushing. In 2013, he had to have more surgery. He never said anything about the pain, though. He went through all of this while his sister Kim was fighting leukemia. It was found in 1991, the same year he met River. Keanu did a lot of other things over the next 10 years. The man sold his home. He paid $5 million for her care. In times of extreme pain, she said Keanu would just sit and hold her hand. She addressed him as her shield, since he defended her from the bad guy. Although The Matrix made him $45 million, he gave away 70% of that, $3.55 billion, to study cancer. Even film shoots had to be put off so he could be with Kim. In 2001, she beat cancer, but Keanu kept funding studies without anyone knowing. He did not want anything to have his name on it. That wasn't the end of him. Because of COVID, the world shut down in 2020. Keanu went to food banks in Los Angeles wearing a mask so no one would know him. Despite not telling anyone, he served food and helped with materials. He had a private foundation that helped kids in cancer studies already, ever since the middle of the 2000s. A magazine asked him about it, and he said he didn't want to put his name on it. He only meant well. In the US and Canada, he gave away millions of dollars during the lockdowns, and no one knew about it. It wasn't easy when he went back to The Matrix in 2021 for Resurrections. He was 57 years old and still healing from past surgeries. It changed all the time. He had to start over with kung fu. His new style didn't fit with the directors. Neo's lines were changed by Keanu almost half of the time. It was shut down during COVID in March 2020 and reopened in August. Things had changed though by that time. Unfortunately, the $190 million movie only made $160.2 million. Nothing good happened. It was true that Keanu was right, but the damage was already done. He and the director never got along again at work. After that, something strange happened. Keanu voiced Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which came out in December 2024. He had been alive for 60 years. He got his first big voice part doing that. Because of rules about health and safety, he recorded 200 lines by himself. His voice was the same harsh one he used in John Wick. The director was shocked at how great it sounded. This actor's voice made the movie become famous all over the world. It made $725, $2 million around the world. Things weren't all good, though. There was a theft of 6 of Keanu's expensive watches from his home in the Hollywood Hills in December 2023. Thieves turned off the alarm and got in through a window. One was a $9,500 Rolex with the number WK4 written on it. He gave it to his John Wick 4 stunt team as a gift. That particular one hurt the most. Later, in July 2025, police in Chile found the watches again. Keanu even testified from afar during a raid on an international crime ring. That made the person who usually kept to themselves feel violated. Something completely different took place in 2025. For the first time, Keanu walked on a Broadway stage. His role in Waiting for Godot began on September 13th, when he was 60 years old. Weekly 8 shows. Through years of action work, his knees hurt the most. Nevertheless, he kept going. A lot of people liked the play. Weekly sales of $1.8 million. For the part, he had trained in clowning and a certain kind of dance. Some people thought he was very smart. He stated that it was the most difficult thing he had ever accomplished. It was always full at the theater. Within the limits, there was something darker going on. Kirsten was being posed as by AI and deepface. As part of romance scams, thousands of fake accounts used his picture. Mistakes were being made on purpose. A woman lost $160,000 because she thought she was helping a man with his legal troubles. Another woman lived in her car in the end. We deleted more than 40,000 fake accounts just in 2024. At this point, Keanu spends $50,000 a month. Lodi, a protection company, just to make sure his fans are safe. He was worried about everything, even memories. Someone digitally added a tear to his face without telling him once, early in his career. After that, he made it a condition of every deal that no one could digitally change his show or face. Small changes were only allowed, like getting rid of blinks. Always, he said that if you don't take care of your look, you lose a part of yourself. He stays soft-hearted. It was his advice that you should try not to suck. That is his whole way of thinking. He revealed that he doesn't care about money and that he has enough to last for hundreds of years. Lionsgate said that John Wick 5 will happen in 2025. He also said he would be willing to make a fourth Bill and Ted movie. Someone on Broadway asked him if he would do it again. He smiled and said, yes, repeatedly. At birth, he was in Beirut. Later, he went to Canada and lost his daughter. He was very close to losing his sister, but Lost River didn't give up. He's still training. He's still riding bikes. He still acts like he's going to start today. The Inkpot Award was given to him in 2024. For his friend Lance Reddick's death, he got the Lance Reddick Legacy Award. He still shares the movie's income with the crew to keep them working. Despite being 60 years old, he hasn't slowed down.